To locate the Shapes pane, most of you should be used to using the new task panel by now, so it's one of the tabs off to the side there. The Shapes pane is just beside that. It's called Shapes, and when you click on that, you get a view of the different plans that are actually in the job. So we've got two plans at the moment. We've got 6264 level 2 and level 3 in the plan. They're collapsed down at the moment, and if you click on the little arrow pointing to the plan, it will expand the field. So if we click on this one, we can see under this level 3 plan there's only a little bit of information. But if I open up 6264 level 2, we can see a fair few shapes. I just might expand this a little bit just so you can see some more information there. So we can see a whole heap of shapes that we've already taken off, so we've got something to work with. So that's where you will locate the Shapes pane. It's a very, very powerful tool for anyone that's doing multi-story construction, or they've got they might be doing units, townhouses, or just generally larger jobs where you've got a lot of shapes in there and you want to be able to edit information or go through a job and change stuff quicker without needing to manually mine through the estimate to locate all the items. So the first little cool thing I want to show you about the Shapes pane is how it can help you find information that you're looking for. For example, we've got this laundry 5 that's located there. So if I click on laundry 5, it highlights where it's green in the plan there. Okay. If I click on shape 10, it's going to highlight where that shape is as well. Now we can use this location button at the end, okay, right next to the turn on and off view, which the turn on and off is the same as in the estimate. It hides or shows items, but this little button here will actually find where an item is and open up the calc sheet for that item as well. Okay, so when we click on shape 10, it shows me that it's showing an upturn. Okay, if I click on it again, it's also showing me shape 10 is used in a laundry wet area. So by clicking that button, it cycles through all the places that you've shared that information, so you can make sure changes you make have been carried across under the different line items and the trade headings that you've shared that shape with. Okay. Now one of the cool little features that we can do here is change that shape name. When we've got a long list of shapes and they're just numbered, it's hard to look at this list and see which shape it is I want to use or reuse or make an edit to. If we've got a shape name, we can locate it much faster. Now sometimes we won't have named them when we're creating the shape, so if we want to change the shape name and anywhere that shape is being shared, it to update in the estimate, we do it in the Shapes pane. So here we have shape 10, let's just call that laundry 3. Okay, and then straight away on the plan it'll update to laundry 3. Now some of you might have noticed in the calc sheet it's still called shape 10, but if we actually go through and do a couple of scrolls, what we'll notice is that it will update. It's just got to go through sort of like a save cycle, and then the new information will be present. So it normally takes a second or so. Okay, the quickest way to do it is click on a new item and go back to it, and the change will be there. For example, we're back into the laundry wet areas, and we can see that it's called laundry 3 now. So it's going to stand out a lot better in that list. Okay. Anywhere that the shape's been shared, it will be called laundry 3. So just be mindful when you're naming the shape. If we're naming this wet area to laundry 3, now when I had the tile measurement, that's now going to be called wet area to laundry 3, unless you use it as a different shape. So we can edit the shape name there, but more importantly we can edit the shape details as well. Most of you should be familiar with the calc sheet, a shape, and then its general details, its properties. But we might use this area, or let's say a vertical area, and we go shape 3. Our wall height is 300, so that's what we drew the upturn as. If I just zoom out a little bit so we can see where shape 3 is coming from. It's just one of these balconies, so we go up to there. So the upturn's saying 300. If we wanted to make an edit here, and we reuse this shape, so I'm going to make an edit here of, let's just say 1500 for the purpose of this demonstration. 3.515, and that's clearly updated to 17. Now I'm going to reuse this shape, and I'm just going to drop it under another vertical area. So here we got some external wall frame. So let's just put it under that for the purpose of the demonstration. Drag and drop that. External wall frames. When I click back into the shape now, it's still showing it as 300. The reason for that, when we created that new task, we outlined the properties for vertical areas to be 300 high. When we made the change under the calc sheet, okay, for the wet area, we're only making the change to that line item. We're not making it to the shape, so any future shapes we do won't carry that information over. If we do want to do that, what we need to do is locate the shape, okay, in the shape pane and make an edit here. What I'm going to do first is just delete this shape 3 out of the external wall frame. So I'm just going to click on that again and hit delete on my keyboard. And now it's got no quantity against external wall frames. So I'm going to go to shape 3 now. Okay, again in the shapes pane. Come down here, I can see the general details of the shape. Okay, it's showing me the factor default for the shape, the area pitch default, the volume default, and the wall height. Note that it's 300. So here I'm going to type in that shape default to be 1500 and click on that. Okay, so here it's important to note that when we make this change here, previous shapes that we've drawn aren't going to be updated. Okay, because we might want them to change, so it's only for new drawings, alright? Or new shared information. So now we can take this shape and drag it into the external wall frames, okay? And when I click into shape 3, note external wall frames is highlighted, shape 3 is highlighted, the details now say 1500. So we've changed the default parameters of that shape, okay? So that's one way you can change the edit. So we're changing the overall information. But if we go into shape 3, we can see all of the areas that shape 3 is being used. It's been used as an area. It's been used as a vertical area. Okay, and if I click on this arrow, it will show me that where that vertical area is in the upturns. Now it's also been used as another vertical area. And if I click on that locate arrow, it will show me that that was done in external wall frames. Now I might want to click in both of these, okay, and change the wall height value back to 300 in one go. So instead of doing it individually, I can tag multiple items under the same shape, alright, as long as it's the same result type. Okay, and I'll show you that in a little second. But right now we're just doing this 300 one, so I'm clicking on that and I'm going to click out of that cell, and you note this has gone back to 3.5, and they're both the same, 3.5. They should return the same value because they're showing the same height and it's the same area or same length that we're measuring that around. Now I said before you can't make that mass change if they're different result types. So it worked then because this is a vertical area and this is a vertical area. So I can see the information here. But if I click on an area, it will show you this little warning sign, there are no details to show. If you see that and you're trying to do this mass edit, it's probably because you've just grabbed the wrong result type. Alright, you can't, have two different result types in this edit. You only can be editing one at a time. When you've got more than one item selected, okay, you will just get the overall edit. If you've just got a single item, you can actually even see the individual line information. Okay, so we could come down through here and know that, okay, well, on this wall we don't have any upturn, and just zero out that whole line. Okay, so it'll allow you to go through and make those changes there. And the same as, we might then want that for a vertical external wall. Okay, so clicking on the individual options gives us access to the full details panel. Highlighting multiples will give us access to the mass change. So in the single view, when we click on it, that's just that section that it's given us access to. One of the really good features of the Shapes Pane is we can share information, and instead of having to redraw the same shape over and over again, or let's say for this balcony where there's multiple of the same balcony, instead of taking one off and then saying let's put a factor of 5 to it because there's 5 of those balconies, we can copy that shape using the Shape Pane. That's what I'm going to show you now. So I've just renamed that to balcony 3, and what I want to do is use that to take off these balconies here. Okay, and I want to get my vertical area quantities, and I want to get my wet area quantities. So what I can do is click on the actual name balcony 3, not the individual shapes below, and from there I can click and drag and drop it to anywhere I want it to be on the plan. Now notice that more balcony 3s are dropping into there because it's making a copy. Alright, so we're going to just drag one more of them off. Okay, so now if we zoom in, you can see that these balconies, they're not quite aligned where they should be. If we double click on the shape, what we'll do is we'll get the edit function of the shape, and we can click and drag this pan button and move the shape over a little bit there. So you can adjust the shapes. Alright, let's say that they're even a different shape. We can come through and edit them. The idea behind the feature is not to make a direct copy of the drawing that we actually did of that shape, but it's the connections of this shape. So this shape, for example, is connected to upturns, balcony wet areas, and external wall frames. So instead of me needing to redraw that information, I can copy it from the Shapes Pane. It's going to duplicate the quantities in my estimate in all of those 3 fields that I had it connected to. If I want to, I can go down and then simply re-click on these and update the names of them so that they're going to stand out, as opposed to everything being balcony 3 in this estimate here. This is on the same plan we're copying the shapes, but we can do it for other levels as well. So like level 3 here, we've got a couple of these balconies and there's no takeoff done. What we can do is go back up, take one of these balconies, click and drag, drop it over. So you just hold that left click down. You should have this symbol if you've got the right item. Let's come down here. If we try and drag something off and we've got the circle of a line through it, we don't actually have the item, and when we drop it on the plan, nothing will come over. The symbol we're looking for is the little arrow with the plus in a box below it. Okay, drag and drop that there. Drag and drop that there. Okay, so what we've done there is dragged and dropped balcony 3 onto a separate plan. Now because this plan didn't have any takeoff done on it, it's going to stand out for you. At the moment we've been doing everything under level 2. If you do work on multi-level plans, or let's say they're different townhouses and they've got different plans for each townhouse, but you want to carry information over, if you need to relocate those new ones that you just dropped, they're not going to be under that plan. They're going to be under the actual plan that they're on, so the level 3 plan, which is the one that we're on now. You can see that down there. So just make sure if you're trying to locate them, you're editing the right information. Remember, they will go in at the same name, so you need to come down through here and maybe make a distinction of which level it was on, or which townhouse number. The last thing I wanted to point out to everyone, just to make it really clear, because it can be a little bit confusing for some users, there's a big difference between the properties of the shape, which is what we can see here right now, okay, and the properties of an item. So an item might be, let's say I click on the internal wall frames here, I click on shape 22, this is the properties of that item. Okay, what the properties of the item refer to, and I'm just going to use just a hot tip for everyone just in case they weren't aware of it. If you need to easily locate this shape, even if you're on the different plan, click on the shape, then right click and go view and viewport, and it will center where that shape is and actually open up the correct plan for you. So the properties of this shape here refer to what it was drawn at and the line values. So whether it's got a raking wall or if it's got a factor put to it. Any changes made here will only affect this shape. They don't carry on, and for you to share that information, instead of sharing a shape from the plan, you need to share the shape from the calc sheet. Now the properties of the shape can be found in the Shapes pane. So if I click on balcony 3, this shows me the general properties of that shape. And again, like we did earlier, if we make a change here and when we re-share this shape or we draw this shape, it will then default to those properties. Okay, so understanding the difference between them allows you guys to sort of get more detail in your estimates and control the way that you're sharing information. You know, you might say, for example, have an area that you've taken off and use that same area to get the measurement for the walls, but then you might make a couple edits to the walls that you only want to share across plaster and skirting, and then you might want the base properties of the shape for insulation and paint. Okay, so it gives you two areas that you can share different sets of information for the same shape.